Hello and welcome to Moving Pictures Kenya community. My name is Bonventure and today I want you to join me on a journey to the outskirts of York City in Pennsylvania, where we will meet an amazing American woman who has converted her kitchen into a workshop. Here she refurbishes and repairs computers and then donates them to Africa.
So this is my workstation. Sorry. So this one I'm just checking for updates to get those done. And I think most of this computer is almost ready. This is an older computer and I'm working with it to get it connected to the internet, and for some reason it wants to have hiccups.
In a world where technology is increasingly accessible, there is still a vast digital divide between the haves and have-nots. But one woman is bridging the gap, one computer at a time.
And there, I have a drive here that I put. This has all my information on it. It's my computer setup drive, and so you'll see I can put it in here if you want me to. I was inspired to start Connection Ubuntu because I had been working on computers and sending them through another nonprofit, and that nonprofit was ending their time doing work in Africa. And so I was just getting started and was really learning, the trade and how to make computers work right and get them set up. And I just knew that I had to continue doing this work because there were so many people in need of technology.
Hello world, my name is Saida Mlogo. I am a 5th grade at Seku Primary School in Kenya. Not long ago, learning about technology seemed like a dream for kids like me. We were in the dark with no tools to explore the digital world. But then, Vicki from Connection Ubuntu changed everything. She brought light into our lives, and now, thanks to her and the Techno Kids program by Kote, I am a proud digital kid. I can now code, create graphics, and say hello world in many ways I never imagined. Thank you Uncle Jospat and Connection Ubuntu for giving us this incredible opportunity. You have not just lit up our lives, you have brightened our future.
Vicki Poole is the founder and president of Connection Ubuntu. She was inspired to start the organization after seeing the impact of technology on young people in Africa.
Technology in Africa and the world there is nothing that we do that doesn't have technology in it today. Technology is huge, and so for Connection Ubuntu to make the difference that we're doing now and for the future will be so big for these students to learn. The jobs are endless as to what different opportunities they have. Coding, web design, graphic design, robotics. There's just so much, and so some of our labs are offering all of these things, and so we're just so extremely grateful that some of the Africans know exactly what they need to do to get these students to the next level.
We do that, and supporting young people with economic empowerment, computer skills, photography skills. That means they're able to get an opportunity to support themselves as well. The statistics will tell you that most of young people who come from Kibra slum are not able to go through to college or university. And this is because of low grades, it's because of poverty, it's because of a few other things. So we are intervening in that space by giving them alternative options into what they can do. And technological skills is one of them, that they're able to go and open their own cyber cafes. One of the stories that we sent earlier in our year's partnership was a young man who started here computer through the partnership, and after getting the skill, he decided, well, what I'm going to do, he has opened his own cyber cafe and we are supporting him. So we are so glad that that can be able to do that. There are those who've gone ahead to get front desk of works. There are those who've gone ahead to get office desk in their offices. There are those who've gone ahead to pursue photography, because the phone that you support us with also helps them to capture their own memories. Most of the photos that we take and that you see on our website are taken by the phones that you give. Yes. So thank you so much for that. You'll meet these young people.
We work with young people mostly because we really focus on the women and the girls. Young people need to have a way to be self-sufficient in Africa. Or if they want to go to the university, they need to have college, they need to have knowledge of a computer. And to get that basic knowledge, back in 2009, it cost $600 for that. And I knew there was no way that most students would have that money. So we were hoping to find a way with the computers to set up computer labs and have the computer labs be able to offer the same courses and the exams as the universities. And so we can now make that happen. And the cost for that is approximately $45. So it's a big difference.
Connection Ubuntu sets up computer labs in rural Africa where young people can learn computing skills at an affordable rate.
To apply for a computer lab, we like to work with other nonprofits or community-based organizations in Africa because they seem to be the ones serving the people who need the most technology. Even schools don't have the technology they're trying. So we work with some schools, we work with, like I said, mostly nonprofits, and mostly in rural Africa where people don't have the opportunity to go to a cyber cafe to do or learn their skills. So we also ask that the computer labs be self-sufficient. So they tell us how they're going to plan to get enough students to make themselves self-sufficient and how much they would charge. Some of them teach just coding. Some of them teach everything from Microsoft Office to even just how to work a computer. But we focus on the girls and the women because they will serve their communities. And they don't often get the education that the boys do.
My name is Shimene Irakoze, 17 years old, Burundian by the nationality. I joined the Discovering Computer Lab after receiving the message from my friend. Through the program, I learned the introduction to computer, lab typing, Microsoft Word, Excel, and so on. But also I went through the challenges, such as many students with a few computers. And I would like to recommend the donors to increase more program and computer to support us refugee girls. Also to say thank you to Connection Ubuntu for the support.
Vicki, a public relations expert, had no prior training on how to repair computers.
For 30 years I served in public relations and did nothing with computers other than work with one myself. But when Connection Ubuntu started, I watched a lot of YouTube videos and learned how to put new operating systems on these computers, and then just last year I started working with Computer Ministry, and they have taught me so much as well, how important upgraded memory is on computers, the hard drives, whether they're solid state drives or the old type hardware. It just makes such a difference as to whether a computer's going to work well and work really awesome. So hardware makes a huge difference, but thanks to them I have learned a lot. So this Windows 11 that I'm putting on these computers is a really tiny version of Windows 11, so it doesn't even come with Microsoft Edge, the browser, so I have to install that. So install that, I check the device manager to see if there's any drivers that aren't there. I have a program, actually I have two programs that if I can't find the driver from one, I can find it generally from the other. So we try to make sure that these computers have everything they need, including software and hardware, before we ship them.
In order to help her run the day-to-day affairs of Connection Ubuntu, Vicki has a board that consists of 7 members.
We are always looking for board members. We have a wonderful board. We have 7 members currently. 2 of them are Africans, which is wonderful.
Carla Hon is one of the board members.
I was very fortunate in 2019 to make a trip to Kenya. And Vicki was one of my co-travelers, and through that trip I started to understand her role in providing computers to villages and towns in Africa. I was very impressed with the work she was doing, as I was very impressed with meeting all the Kenya residents, and again understanding the need for technology for students in Africa. So upon returning home, I was invited to serve on the board of Connection Ubuntu, which I happily accepted. So I have been on the board with Vicki since 2019. What I think we are creating in Africa is opportunity for young people, specifically young women, to become self-sufficient, to possibly find their way to higher education that wasn't available to them before, and to make a difference in their communities and their families' lives.
All protocols observing before you are students from Jiunga Lab, standing perpendicularly ready to recite for you a poem entitled Computer Digital Devices. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome. Computer digital devices makes our work easy. They make my learning area easier and kills my body. Oh computer, you have enabled me to sharpen my skills. Computer, a digital device in the world of today. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Typing on the keyboard, a part full of letters and numbers. Typing on the keyboard and using the mouse makes my fingers active. Hooray! My information is fairly protected for future inference. Computer, a digital device in the world of today. Hey, hey, hey! I say no foods, no drinks, and snacks are allowed in the computer lab. No walking around recklessly, for prevention is better than cure. We all know computer illiterate is not allowed, so do the right thing at the right time. Computer, a digital device in the world of today. And the most important thing, we thank our great guests from Ubuntu Connection for supporting us with computers, which have enabled us to sharpen our skills through our instructors.
One of the most impactful times for me when I was able to go back to Africa the second time, which just happened earlier this year in 2024. There was a young man I had been communicating with for quite a few years. His name is Eric, lives in a refugee camp, and just through communicating with him I understood the needs that he had for his community to provide computers. When we had our summit in Kenya in 2024, we invited over 32 lab directors to all come together. And I was very excited to meet many of them because we only communicated via WhatsApp or emails or Facebook. And I finally got to come face to face with Eric, and it was felt like a reunion, although I had never personally met him before. And it was a wonderful interaction. And I saw what Connection Ubuntu is helping him transform into because of the technology we're giving him to share. And then I also understood how he is supporting his community and working with young people in the refugee camp. Well, from the different labs that we support, there are many opportunities. Again, going back to education, we know that this can be a step for them to hopefully someday go on further. We're also finding labs that are specializing maybe in photography or coding, very specific things that are going to give these students the skill sets they need to be self-sufficient and again support their families.
The purpose is to, when we get ready to ship, it helps us identify each computer. We have the serial number for each computer, the make, what hard drive's in it, how much RAM is in it, so that we can kind of group computers together so that they kind of have the same equipment. So that we send 10 computers for each lab. Those computers are kind of on the same level. So if we have to put Linux on computers, they'll get 10 Linux computers rather than having a mixture of Windows and Linux, so that they're all doing the same, they're able to all do the same thing at the same time.
Just like any other non-profit organization, Connection Ubuntu has its challenges.
The self-sufficiency issue. Some labs do very well, some struggle with that. If they have a computer that breaks or stops working, they have to figure out how to get that repaired. Not all of the computer labs are able to save up enough money to make that happen. I would say that's the biggest hurdle that we face. We also ask for computer reports every 4 months. And so if we have a lab that doesn't send us a report, then it's hard for us to know how they're doing. So I would say that's another hurdle that we have. The other hurdle is the time it takes to ship computers from here over to Africa. So right now it's about a 3-month journey. It used to be about 2 months.
Despite the challenges, Connection Ubuntu has made a significant impact in the lives of young people in Africa.
The measure of success for Connection Ubuntu is how many of these students that actually go through this program get actual jobs after they've gone through the program. And it doesn't matter what the job is. It doesn't have to be a technology job. If that job is helping them in an office or helping them be an entrepreneur, however they are able to get a self-sustaining job, that is how we judge our success. And right now, I believe that success has been really large. We have a few of our labs especially that have about 60% of their students that are getting good jobs after they've left the computer lab. So we're really excited about that. We started with 1 lab in 2014 and we're now up to 48 labs, and we're in 7 countries and probably soon to be 8 countries. And so if we could find more shippers in countries closer, we would probably even have more labs set up in more of Africa. But I would say the word is out about Connection Ubuntu, and they are talking about how we are changing lives there. So the computers are doing their work, and the lab directors are doing good work in getting their students into the classroom, and we're grateful.
Students who have learned computing skills through Connection Ubuntu are now working in self-sustaining jobs, making a difference in their communities.
When we started, I would have had no idea that we would ever make all of these connections. I thought we would I know we're a small nonprofit, but I like to think that we're changing so many lives and doing so much good work. It's so heartwarming to know that there are people here that want to follow our lead and do what we're doing. It's just amazing to me.
It is worth noting that it's not only in Africa where Connection Ubuntu has an impact.
A couple students from a school in Texas just reached out to me because they want to do what we're doing. So they wanted to know if they could kind of partner with us to learn what we do and how we go about doing it, so they can learn from us about that. So I would say that's one way that other people who are interested in doing the same thing could do. They could reach out to us. Another way would be to partner with us if they have technology that they wanted to donate. We love those kind of donations, so getting computers from corporations is a wonderful thing. They're generally really good computers, and they're really easy to work on for the most part. And then I would say the third factor is money. If people would want to donate to Connection Ubuntu to help us do our work, that would be another way. If they had connections to a certain lab in Africa and they wanted to help them, further or get more computers, they could always help that way by sending donations to us.
Through these success stories, Vicki sees a very bright future for Connection Ubuntu. Vicki's vision is to create a network of computer labs across Africa, empowering young people to take control of their own futures.
I say this all the time to people who might have an old computer. If it's still working, give it to us. We can try to see if we can make it run better. Because when you go to Africa and you see the difference that this used equipment is making, it is just astounding how many people one used computer can serve. In some classes, there are 10 students using one computer. And if you think about it, that computer could have gone into a landfill here, but it didn't. It got a second, maybe even a third life, and is now in Africa, and these students are thriving with these used computers.
Join Vicki Poole and Connection Ubuntu in bridging the digital divide. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of young people of Africa.
The refugee camps, they have pretty stringent rules, and they don't get to leave the compounds very frequently. If they do, they have to have paperwork that takes care of them getting out. But they're there, and they don't have jobs, and they don't really have hope to see a way out. So even if they don't get to leave, if they can have a way to work with computers and learn technology, that gives them hope that they will be able to get a job, even if it's still in the refugee camp. They just don't have the opportunities like everyone else who can move freely around in their countries. And so it is really important that they get this technology.
As they say in Africa, Ubuntu, I am because we are.
We get donated computers. It could be from a business or it could be from personal donations. Once we get those computers, we check their specifics to know if we need to upgrade any of the components, if we need to wipe the hard drives. Once we get that information, we work on the computers to make them whole and working, and then we have computer labs that have been approved that are in our queue, and so we decide which computers are going to which computer labs. Then we pack them up in the boxes. I'll let our shipper Kevin from Homeland 254 Logistics know that we're ready to ship some boxes. He comes to pick them up. They go to the port, his port, where they load things into a container, and then they go by ship over to Mombasa. And once they get there, Kevin takes them to his warehouse, and their director then calls the labs and says, come pick up your equipment.
It's been my honor and privilege with working with Connection Ubuntu. Connection Ubuntu is an organization that is involved in providing computers and technology to disadvantaged children all over Africa. They've set up labs all over Kenya, and we are really, really grateful for that. We are also grateful for the privilege of transporting those computers for Connection Ubuntu for the last few years. So thank you, Vicki, thank you, Becky, and all the directors of Connection Ubuntu. And we just hope that the future is brighter, and that we can continue working together.
Connection Ubuntu, empowering young people in Africa, one computer at a time.
In the next 5 to 10 years, I'm not getting any younger. I would love to see an African or a group of Africans here even taking over Connection Ubuntu to follow, to take our work and do what we do. And in 5 to 10 years, I would also like to see enough money raised that they could be able to set up computer labs in Africa using local distribution centers, and finding easier shipping to more places in Africa.
Thank you, Vicki, for that inspiring story. It gives me a lot of pride as a board member of Connection Ubuntu. My name is Bonventure, and this is Moving Pictures Kenya, connecting people, inspiring Africa.